Right, in this video we're going to answer a question we get quite often from our customers, which is regarding the different risers that we offer and which riser is right for the job at hand. So we're going to run through all the different risers that we offer, and at the end of this video you should be an expert on the different riser types and be able to distinguish which one is right for your sprinkler system. Right, the first risers we're going to start with are our PVC risers, which you'll see the full line here. We have a wide variety of 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch PVC risers. The PVC riser is a very rigid, approximately Schedule 40 PVC that cannot be cut, it cannot be adjusted. It's threaded on both ends, and it provides a very stiff, secure riser. So we would use these in situations where, like shrub risers or something where the riser or the sprinkler head itself would not have direct contact with any sort of foot traffic or could be bumped or anything like that. These, because they have no give to them, because they're very solid, if there's enough pressure applied to them from an outside force like foot traffic or an automobile rolling over, they would break, they would snap. So you want to use these in the most the heavy duty situations, but also places where they're free from any kind of interaction with any kind of traffic or anything like that. So as you can see, these are very rigid, like I say, cannot be bent at all. The sizes that you have, starting down there at the left side, you've got that's a 1/2 inch. And that riser on the very far left has no space between it, so it would be used just when you were basically needing to connect right to a fitting. They go up to 1 inch. You got 4 all the way up to, this is a 24 inch, and then we've got our 3/4 here and approximately the same sizes, and then this is the 1 inch in up to a 12 inch length of 1 inch diameter fitting. So that's the PVC riser. Let's move on to the next one. All right, the next kind of riser that we use is our cutoff risers. And these are helpful when you need to get an exact sort of riser amount, but you're not quite sure what it is beforehand, and it's going to depend on the type of sprinkler that you use. So let's say, for example, that this was my pipe coming in, and I wanted to put a sprinkler on it. So I could put this in to begin with. So the riser's connected. And then let's say I have my sprinkler. So this is my sprinkler. Now let's pretend the ground level's about right there, or about right there. This would be sitting a couple inches above the ground, which means it would easily get stepped on and broken or run over by a lawnmower or something like that. So we would actually need to cut that down by a couple inches. Well, these come in 1 inch increments, and I could just take some snipping tools, such as this one here, and open that up, and then just cut this off. The right level. Then the sprinkler simply attaches, and it would be right at my perfect level. So those are very helpful in those sorts of situations. And these are probably some of the most commonly used ones by people installing underground sprinkler systems. They come in a variety of sizes in both 1/2 inch and 3/4. This one here is the 12 inch, so it's solid through the 6 inches. But then you have 1 inch increments all the way up to 12. So if you had a deeper pipe or something like that, you might want to use this. We also have ones that have different threadings on either end, so that you'll notice that this is male threaded here on this end, and then at this end up at the top it's actually female threaded. So if you had sprinklers that actually had male threadings on them, you could use a cutoff riser. We have this both 1/2 inch and 3/4, and you could put the sprinkler on there. These are also helpful if, let's say you had, cut off this riser, and then later on you found out that you needed actually another couple inches back on there. You could use this just to attach, like so, and then, cut off that extra inch. So these are very helpful, very flexible. The one thing to keep in mind with these, unlike the PVC risers that we showed you in the beginning, is that these are a little bit softer plastic, so they don't have a lot of give to them. They're still rigid enough that if they're stepped on or hit with any impact, they're going to break, but they're a little bit softer plastic so that you're able to cut through them easily with our pipe cutters. So let's move on to the next one and show you what you would use in a situation where you do have a lot of foot traffic. Okay, the next in our series of risers is our multi-flex risers, and these are very useful for situations where you're putting sprinklers in on areas that might get a lot of foot traffic, or where lawnmowers might be running over them, or where even automobiles might be running over them. These offer, we have two varieties, and they offer a bit of flex to them so that if the sprinkler is ever impacted, the riser doesn't break beneath it, but it'll actually flex. So here on the left we have the more flexible. These are our blue ones, and you can see that they've got quite a bit of flex to them. They can be twisted and turned in any sort of situation you want to. Those come in a 6, 12, and 18-inch length. And then here we have in our 6-inch length, this is a little bit more rigid, but it does have some flex to it. These are our other risers, other multi-flex risers. So again, a similar situation, let's say you had a sprinkler that was attached to them. This one would be underground. Now it's not cuttable like our adjustable risers were that we just showed you previously, but you could bury that, and then if somebody were walking along and happened to nudge it, you see that the riser itself will give, and it doesn't break, it doesn't rupture or anything like that, and then it will come back into proper position. Now with these blue ones that are a lot more flexible, you do have to kind of surround the sprinkler with sufficient soil to keep it in position, because if there's too much loose space around it, it's gonna turn like that. It's gonna want to go straight. These risers also can be useful in situations where you have your pipe that's buried at 6 or 12 inches, and you need a little bit of flexibility, and you're able to move the sprinkler around before you bury it. So those work great there. All right, the next riser we have to show you is probably the most flexible of our risers, which is the swing joint, the elbow swing joint. And this uses a few fittings on the end of some just poly pipe, and allows you to get articulation in all three dimensions, as well as a bit of flexibility like our flex pipe. So these come pre-assembled in both 1/2 inch and 3/4 versions, but we also sell the elbow fittings separately. So if you wanted to construct your own of smaller lengths, these come in 12-inch lengths here, but you could make them to any length you desired. So if the 12 inches was not quite what you wanted. How this works, and the reason it's so versatile, is because you would attach this to your pipe underneath. So your pipe would be running underground like this. Now let's say you had your sprinkler on there. This allows you to move this to the correct height of ground level. It allows you to swing a little bit in either direction as well, and then it also swings back and forth that way. And then the pipe itself is also, because it's poly pipe, it's a bit flexible. So this is so great because it lets you position the riser and the sprinkler head exactly where you want it. And then it also gives you the security of the flex risers, so that if this were ever stepped on or knocked, it would articulate and could just be moved back into position. The pipe underneath would move with it. If it was depressed, it would just go down, it wouldn't break. And then they're easily replaceable because there's just a little fitting to remove. So let's show you our last riser, which is our Shrub Riser. Right, the final riser we have to show you today is our adjustable Shrub Risers, and these are particularly useful for areas where you have shrubbery that's going to grow over the years and get taller and taller, and so you'll want a riser that accommodates that. These are made in an aluminum housing, and they come with a 12-foot adjustable nozzle, but this nozzle is actually, it'll accept any of our nozzles. It's threaded to do that. Comes with a filter also. And how these come in two sizes. This one is the smaller, which is this is the 16 to 30 inch, and then we also have one that is a 26 to 48 inch. So it's a larger one. So you would install this on your pipe, and then just by twisting that, you can pull this to elongate the actual riser to a new height. So as your shrubs grow and get taller, you want to get that above them, and so that allows you to just sort of adjust it. And then you can also, like I said, replace the nozzle as you need to cover more or less area. So these are great. Now, of course, they're rigid. There's no give to them, and if they're connected to connected to a pipe, you're not going to want to have them in high traffic areas where they could be knocked, because those would obviously break as well. So let's show you a couple tips with our risers in the next portion of this video. Final part of this video is we wanted to just show you a couple accessories that are used oftentimes with risers that can make them a lot more versatile. The first one is this transition adapter. It's a coupling in 1/2 inch, and that allows you to do a couple things, a couple different uses. So let's say you had a riser like this 1/2 inch solid PVC riser. This one's a 6 inch, and let's say you needed to get another 4 inches on top of that. You could use this coupling. Rather than actually remove and discard that riser, you can just use that coupling and then add another top on there, and then you could add your sprinkler on top of that. Or another option, like we have in this video, is we have our impact head, and those are, instead of being female threaded, those are male threaded. So this is how you would transition those to a riser, is using this coupling. In addition to that, we also have our adapter, which goes from 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. And this is also useful for if you have 1/2 inch risers throughout your yard, but then you have a sprinkler like our gear drives, for example, that use 3/4 inch connections. Instead of having to replace all your risers with 3/4 inch pipe, which would also require problems because you'd have to replace the actual fittings on those on the pipe to 3/4 inch, you can just use this transition adapter. That would just screw on there, and you could attach a sprinkler like so, and you'd be set to go. So those two items can add some flexibility and help you get the connection that you need depending on the sprinkler that you have and the risers that you're using. If you have any questions about any of the risers you've seen today, or any of our riser products, we'd be happy to help you with that. Just let us know in the comments below. Thanks.